So lag on the channels. So while that's going on, I'm gonna see if I can boomerang this because I'll share it on my personal page. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it looks like it's hi everybody on YouTube, and I'm gonna hit refresh on Facebook. Da da da
All right, I just
da.
gonna.
There it is. Share it on the things. Ta-da! All right. All right, all right, all right. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. This is Arusha from Push a Cure Fan documentary. And I have a special guest and friend today, Leenie V. Leenie, if you could introduce yourself and say where you're from or what's up.
Um, so I am Leenie Venatulis or Leenie Vinay, and I am originally from Baltimore. And right now I am in New Orleans visiting my family and friends.
That's awesome. Isn't it Mardi Gras now?
Yeah, it's Mardi Gras started January 6th on 12th night, and I went to. It's a small crew. It's called Crew Mosaic. It's a brand new one. It's their first role, and it's in the French Quarter. I went to that last night, and it was my first Mardi Gras parade in like, I don't know, 18 years or something because I haven't, been living here since that long. So it was wonderful.
Oh, that's awesome. So hi,
Yeah.
hi to Jackie, Millie, Sheree, Mike Baptist, Craig Goodman, Bianca Bartucci, Joyce Amend, Allison Humphreys, Don Phillips, Andrea Alvarez. Hello. I love this part because I swear to God, I'm going to give away my age, but I said it last time. Leenie, do you remember Romper Room? Are you old enough?
Yes, I do. Of
It was
course
like
I am.
this children's thing where there was this woman speaking this like weird mirror thing. Do you remember that? And she'd say,
Yes.
I see Andrea, I see Shirley and Lynn and Alex." Oh my God. Okay, so Alex Chavez, Shirley, Lau, Lynn, another Shirley. I think there's two Shirleys. Isa, Magic Mirror, Jackie.
It's a magic mirror. That's right.
We're all a part of the magic mirror, everybody. Let's build community together. So, so today, I thought it would be really cool to bring Leanie on for many reasons. One, just as a fellow Cure fan, but Leanie went to a lot of shows last year.
Yeah.
So, God, I feel like I could start in like 10 different places, like getting tickets, how you got there, where your Cure journey went. But Leanie, what comes to mind when you think of 2023 following the Cure?
Joy. I had like most joy of my life. It was such a wonderful year for me. Just pure pleasure. Joy.
Even when you were dealing with Ticketmaster?
So, with all light, there's darkness, and ticket bastards, because they're not masters. They're not masters of me or any tickets or live music. They're ticket bastards, and that's what I'm going to call them. But no, I didn't have joy dealing with them until we had situations where we beat their system in certain times, and I had pure joy in those situations. So,
Right, right. We did do a lot of work in that. I think Leanie and I actually, in the very beginning, and Angel worked on some little bit of a behind the scenes kind of mini activism to try to get help for people to get tickets. And we started this little online campaign that is anonymous, but we really just wanted to support the Cure, the band, in their efforts to fight the fucking bullshit that was Ticketmaster. Um,
well,
and
that when that first started, I mean, that instantly was what I saw is just, I mean, it was a mess the whole
Yeah.
way the ticket situation was. And there's so many people that didn't have access. And that was what was beautiful, is how our little community of people kind of organically came together and started helping people get tickets, working together to get tickets in teams, grabbing tickets, like seeing it as grabbing them and then moving them out to people so people could get tickets. That was beautiful, the way that all that worked out. So,
So, how can you maybe talk about, how many Cure shows did you go to?
last year,
Yeah,
32.
that's a lot. That's amazing. Did
It's
you
amazing.
did you intentionally go out and say, what was your intention as far as the amount of Cure shows, like how you went about it, how you decided where to go to and whatnot?
I found an old like Word doc file or something on my Gmail, and I think originally I had intended to go to like 9 or 10 shows, and that was my original. These are the shows I'm going to go to. Um, I just really decided to be like, why not? And I focused on making things work. And I just had a skill set because I've been going to shows for a long time to be able to put a lot of shows together, particularly in North America, because that's my wheelhouse. That's where I've seen most of the Cure shows I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, so when did it all start for you?
So
Come
okay,
on,
I'm
let's go back to your seed story. Let's go.
all right. So I started the first time I saw the Cure or listened to them was in '85, Head on the Door.
Yeah.
I saw them that year at Warner Theater in Washington, D.C. I think it was my second real concert ever, like that or whatever. And it was, I just was hooked. And at that point, until the following year, which was um, the Standing on the Beach, beach tour, um, I just went backwards in the catalog, because that's what was available to me, and I just kept falling more and more in love with the band, and their music, and so they came the following year to Merriweather, which my
Mm.
parents lived like literally 5 minutes from there,
Mm-hmm.
and that show, I went to it, and that was the first time I got in the front row. And I got in the front row because my mom, at the time, people had um, subscription tickets. Like it was like getting like a subscription, to the series of shows or something, and you would get like a series subscription. And my mom knew somebody because she's like, talks to everybody and all that. She knew somebody that had pit tickets, and that's how I got my ticket for that show. And I was in the front row, and I don't know. Once you have that experience, it's so wonderful, especially for me, because I like to see the nuances of how they're playing and the way that they look at each other and the whole. I'm a very sensory person, so it gives
Mm-hmm.
me that added input, when I'm seeing them on the front. And after that, I just, I was all in. So, the following year, and this is like a really lucky era too, because they were touring every year, so '87. I mean, I remember when Kiss Me came out and skipping school, go get the album, like, and waiting for the record store to open up, like all that.
Wait, wait,
We,
wait, 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 wait. Hold on. I gotta give a pause there for a second. All right, let's go back to 1987. Pre cell
yeah,
phones, kind of pre internet, at least for some of us. I wasn't on. Um, what do you mean waiting at the record store for the album? What does that mean?
like they would give a date that the album would come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I talked to the manager at the store that I was had targeted that I was going to get it from, and I knew like when they were getting their shipment in, and they actually had gotten their shipment in like 2 days before. And I tried, like that type of stuff, and I tried to talk them into letting me get it, but then they wouldn't. So then I, showed up at 10 a.m. when they opened up the store, and and skip school. I got a friend to drive me over there and
Well, I think
hang out
it's
with me
a,
that day. And
I
then
think,
going home and listening to it. Oh my God, that album. Yeah, but yeah. So, but that particular tour, if you want to talk about the tickets, that tour was the first tour I figured out. Okay, I'm gonna go to more than one show than my local show, right? So um, I had a really good friend, my friend Mike, and we did some research with my mom. Actually helped. We did some research and found an out of the way ticket master or not bastard, no Ticketron actually back then. Um, and it was at University of Maryland, Baltimore County campus. We went and talked to the woman who worked that box office before the tickets went on sale. So she knew these teens are going to be camping out and we want to get our tickets. But she was so kind and caring. She just totally got like our passion and how excited we were and just so she said, well, look, I can, these are like the old computers, with
mm-hmm.
the green typing, on the screen, the old, big old screen. She's like, I can like get everything set up in here. So right at 10 a.m. or whatever, when the tickets go on sale, I hit enter and you guys will, it'll give you like extra time, like from people like who are waiting for the people to type the information in. She did all that for us and we literally got, I don't know, like half of the fourth row between the two of us. And
Oh
we
my
took a
God.
big gang of our friends from school. We went and saw The Cure at George Mason University. Was that show? It was in Fairfax. So then I knew I was like starting to I was going to go see them like other places, and I live on the I-95 corridor. So I was able to see them that year. I went to New York to the Ritz. I saw them there. That's a crazy story. I had my hair set on fire at that show. That's probably one of my craziest fan situations I ever had. Yeah, I saw them in Philly.
I'm gonna
I saw
interrupt.
the two shows at the Ritz.
I'm gonna interrupt you again, just because I do want to, like, I don't want to gloss over how different things were at that time, and just I want it to sink in, like what you had to do to get tickets. It's not necessarily easier now. I'm not saying that it's easier now. It's just different because it's
Oh,
like a
it's so
different.
much. It's easier now. It's so much easier now.
Well, I mean, it's just like being online is stressful. Like when you're like fighting people that you can't see versus like getting in line and like doing what you did, which was like, all right, I live in town X, and I know that this place that's this ticket outlet is going to be saturated. So I'm going to be strategic, and I'm going to go to this really far away place where nobody's going to
Yeah.
go. Those are the kind of
And we camped
things.
out. That one we camped out. Like we it was fun. My friend had cigarettes. We had to hang out.
Were they close?
But well, no, it was like on this campus. We
No,
had
no,
like the
no, clove
security.
cigarettes, clove cigarettes.
Oh, yeah. No, they were Camel cigarettes, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Oh, and now, okay, so now it's time again to go to the romper room magic mirror. Hi, Bub. Thanks for the shout out. Hi, Mark Dodd.
Hi, Bob. Hi,
Five Swing
Bubbles.
Live. Adrian. Devotion's not a crime. Devon, Dion, Ivan. I think. Oh, there's Donna, Lisa Prachette. If I'm
Oh my
forgetting
goodness.
anybody, I'm sorry.
All right,
I'm
don't tell me
so
who's on. It just talk to me, so I don't know what's going on. Right.
uh well, I just gotta say, I gotta give him a shout out. But anyway, so
I understand.
back to 1987, and the front
So
row,
what
and
I had to do to get tickets, you asked me like what I had to do to get tickets, like especially out of town and stuff. I literally had to do research, and I was a library rat anyway. So I went to the library. They have microfiche like versions of all the yellow pages and stuff from other towns. Um, and what when I had dates, so the dates, we got them. We had like an internal kind of group of people that evolved into like the Other Voices zine, right, in America. And then you
yeah,
had like people that you wrote um, and traded tapes with, and you'd have like your own like list of all your tapes, and you would send them around to each other and back and forth and pictures of each other. And we'd write letters, back and forth. So there was that. We would talk on the phone, but it was like really expensive to talk long distance.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, but I was like at that point in my life, I was like in the skater scene. And then it was kind of like the punk and DC punk and all this like sort of scene then. And so we had like these illegal numbers that you were codes so that you would like dial up and get free long distance. And so I would pass those around as I got them, and we would use that to be able to talk to each other on the phone and stuff. And that's how you would find other people that would maybe want to go to the show or get a ride from, because I didn't have a car. That was always a thing, like trying to find people. I used to go to, I still do, but I mean, the record stores were like a huge part of the whole dynamic of like meeting each other or meeting other people and learning information and that type of stuff. But yeah, so I used to go and find how you got tickets. We would use the phone method. We'd have like 5 or 6 people calling at once, not dissimilar to what we did with Ticket Bastards, like working in groups. It's
Sure.
still the same
Yep.
thing. But
Yep.
or we would find somebody who was local that would go and buy tickets at and that at a in-person box office was a way. So it was a lot of networking and making friends, making like real friends, because you have like this thing that you all share, and then you just all of a sudden you have this bigger network of friends because they have a friend and they have a friend, and it's like creating a family of people. And that's kind of, I think, like your experience too, and everybody's experience as a fan is like when you get involved um, in going to see the band or sharing tapes or collecting and stuff like that. There's this little kind of families of people, chosen families of people that kind of come together and share this thing that they love, but also have other ways that they have parallels in their lives. So that's pretty much what happened there. I mean, if you want to, I can tell you what happened at that Ritz show, because that was one of my crazier situations, but we don't have to. We can, after that though, was like a year off, and then was the prayer tour,
All
right?
right. Well, let's pause. Let me pause there because Adri, I want to give you a message from Adri Blaubis. And this person says, I don't understand Leenie because I speak Spanish, but I have to say, Leenie, thank you very, 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 very much for the streamings, and you did whatever it takes to share your Cure gig with us. I love you for that. So
Thank you.
now, and I also want to say, as far as chosen family, I think that what I find really
That was
interesting.
really sweet. That was very sweet. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I do that out of love, and I really appreciate you sharing that love with me. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, because now that's the thing, is like that is the good part about social media, internet, this connectability, that we can actually, you know, bring each other there as much as possible. Even these conversations, which I could talk about talking forever. But what I wanted to say about The Cure, when you were talking about seeing him in, front row, was it front row 1986, right?
I had front row in 86, 87. I ended up in the front row because that's the type of girl I am. I was in the fourth row, but that's close enough to get me the front row. So yeah.
Right. Well,
I was
well,
in
we'll
front row in 87
we'll get to the hair
for the
burning in a
Ritz.
second, but
That's was it today? I don't have to do that story, but yeah, doesn't matter.
well, what I was gonna say is that for me, what I always go back to with The Cure, because I love, and I think it's the same for you. Like, I just fucking love music. Like, I love music. I
Mm,
felt so
yeah.
awkward and weird in so many aspects of my life, and I still do. I still feel like such a fucking outsider, and so like I'm missing, like there's some handbook out that like people have access to, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's what I was supposed to do? I don't understand. So with music, I felt connected, and I felt like these people, you know, could somehow speak for me. The music made me feel something, like physically feel something that I couldn't feel in any other way. But my first Cure show, the thing that still impresses me about it is, I mean, that's a whole other thing about getting there. I was at a summer camp, blah blah blah. But when I walked in, this was 1986 as well. I felt like I walked into another world. I felt like
Mm-hmm.
I walked into a world that was waiting for me. That I was like, where the fuck has this been all my life? You know, I was
My
six,
tribe. Yeah.
but it was like it was a tribe, but it was also just a space, just like the tribe part for me wasn't quite there yet, but I felt like somehow I could relax a little bit, like I could just be weird and nobody would care, like nobody would scrutinize me and question me and be like, what are you wearing? Why do you look like that? Where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, the concert starts. And at that point, it was, I just remember things being very black and white. I remember Robert getting on stage. He had no hair. I was like, who the fuck is that? Because I was really far away. But that much like you, it sounds like I was already into the Cure. But once I got up and we like bolted up to the front, it like sealed some kind of pact between me and the Cure, whether they like it or not, that I'm here till the fucking end. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I just know that like music for me and their music has it just it's therapeutic for me, but it's also can be joyous, meditative. It can make me like work through anger, it make work through sadness. I play music. I'm a musician myself. I'm also a lover, an audiophile, like big time. I grew up in a very musical family. It's just been around me all my life, right? I use it in my therapy practice. So I use the Cure's music in my therapy practice, you know. But
Briefly,
what
briefly, what's your what do you mean by that? What's your
I'm a
therapy?
speech language pathologist,
Okay.
and I work with people with a whole bunch of different types of communication problems, swallowing problems, and voice, you know, vocal problems. And my practice is, you know, is kind of eclectic, but what I focus on is building people's confidence. And that's what music has done for me my whole life is that it's helped me feel confident and happy. And it's brought me friends. It's brought me love. You know, it's brought me just so many gifts in my life. It's the universal language.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why whatever, you know, happened with Leenie and the Cure, it just clicked. Like it just fit like a glove, and it just never. I've always loved their music, and it's always meant it so much for me. It's always made me feel so happy, and you know, my happiest times in my life, you know, is seeing them. And I've had many happy times in my life, of course, but you know, I mean that just that pure essence of joy, you know, I love it. I love their music that way. So yeah. But
Uh,
I think we were on 87. I'll quickly glide through. I did 89 prayer tour. That was like my first like getting up with a gang of Cure fans type of Cure. Um,
right.
I I had a Cure boyfriend that I met through other voices. He like lived in Chicago, and we did several shows together. You met him like on this tour actually, um, and you know we hadn't like seen each other for like since that. The last time he and I saw each other was that last Mansfield show, and I remember like literally crying. We were crying because we thought that was the last time the band would ever play. Um, and everybody had that feeling. And I know we've had that with different tours anyway, but yeah. But you know, fast forward, did. I've done every tour that they've had since, and I try my best to see as many shows as I can. Basically, I was. doing tours with friends from Other Voices, or the other Cure fans that I met through this whole network of trading tapes and writing letters to each other and making friends, and for a bit. And then I went through a period of my life where outside influence by people and internal influence made me want to just go to shows as a Lone Ranger. And I did that for a long time. Or I went
Mm.
with like just one particular friend, or I brought my kids as I had, eventually had children. I um, dragged them with me, and they loved the Cure anyway. So, you know,
So when did you start going as a lone wolf ish?
after the 92 tour, is at Wish.
Yeah.
Okay. I was living overseas. I don't want to get too into like why though, but yeah, I was living overseas. I come back to the States. I was moved to New Orleans, and after that, so I lived in West Africa. I lived in England. I lived in West Africa. I had a British husband, and we eventually got divorced. But I had like a whole 10-year plus life part of my life, that year of my life. Don't want to go into all that stuff. I moved to New Orleans in that era. So after 92, I was lone wolfing for a while. I would have like some friends from like before that I would go and see shows with, but uh, basically I was pretty much planning, doing, organizing, where I was in control of myself, and that was it. And I had my own responsibility. It was just me, basically. So I did that until just now, really. I pretty much have not organized with people until after Euro Tour.
Were there tours that you had to dip out of? I'm not asking for anything personal, but just like a lot of us have years where we can't go, or we're broke, or
Um,
we think we don't care anymore, or whatever.
I'd have to like sit down and look that earlier era, because I had my sons um, like around 2000, so 2006, 2008, around that 2010, 11 era, like the 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did not see as many shows as I had used to, because I would just see like a local show. Then after that, I think it was 2016 was like the most substantive tour after that, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I started to see more shows, but I took my sons with me.
Mm.
Right. Um, and 2019, I did the same with them. And by that point, I hate to say the word trained, but they liked going on the rail with me. They would line up with me all day, and they like their mom. I'm a fun mom, so they had fun with mom, going traveling around, and you know fun summer
So
camp.
So you bring up the rail, and that seems like a theme since 1986, and I'm sure it came and went in waves. But can you talk a little bit about that in terms of thinking about talking to an audience member that maybe would be like, fuck the rail, I'm scared of the rail. What is the rail? Like, how do you stay there? Because for some people, it's easy. For some people, it's like hell to the no. And other people are like, well, maybe can I do it? Like, how hard is it? Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to be a rail rat?
I mean, there's so many variables in that. It's very, specific to the location of the
Yeah.
show and what's going on. Um, because some shows, the audience are chill, Swedish people or Finnish people, or, they're like chill Norwegians or whatever. And some shows, they're more, more of an aggravated type of thing going on, and more competitive, and stuff like that. So it just depends. Um, some shows, the stage is so far from the entrance, you know, like that's a factor. If you can't run and get there, that's a huge factor, you know. You could sit there all day, but if you're not ready to like run and get yourself positioned and go through that like a sprint, that could be a, you know, as we say in speech language pathology, predisposing factor that you can't
Mm.
uh, work around. It just, there's so many variables. For me, I'm just a person, I have a lot of energy. I'm a high stamina type of person, I think. I love, I'm really focused on like being happy and having like trying to have really wonderful experiences. And I do that every day, day in and day out. I really try to, at least.
Mhm. Mhm.
And because of that, I am, my mind is gets really excited by it. So the monotony parts of waiting in line all day, getting sunburned or whatever, you know, or not being able to go to the bathroom, like all of that type of stuff. Um, it for me, it sucks. Yeah, it's awful. But once I'm there on the show and the show starts and that they walk out and the fog's going and the whole like the it's so wonderful to me that it just it's worth it. It doesn't mean anything. It's like so you do that so many times though, you become really practiced at it. It's almost like a meditative type of practice to actually go through the journey before getting to the rail and on and actually seeing the show. I mean, once you get on the rail, a lot of shows you could still have to wait like 3 4 hours, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So you have to have a very patient personality. I'm a very patient person. And you have to also have tenacity to do it.
Mhm.
You have to be able to have the motivation as well, as
Well,
which is, you know, and you have to have the physical stamina to do it. So you know, there's a lot of different factors, and even with all that, you could still not get on the rail. You never, even though I'm like been on the rail a bunch of times, I never take for granted like each show that I'm gonna go get like trying to get on the rail. I I don't like assume I'm going to get it. Do you know what I mean? Like every time I have anxiety, like, am I going to get on the rail? Is it, I'm going to be okay with like, you know, being back off. Like I go through a mental process myself, you know, every time. So,
yeah, I
and I
remember
think a lot of us do, you know.
I remember speaking to you a few times during the year when we did our, I'd be doing my thing, and you reminded me a lot of what I do when I'm, I make decisions about whether I'm going to be on the rail depending on, like you said, like, I don't know, a million factors. How am I feeling? Like, how big is,
Factors. Yeah.
how big is the venue? Did I get enough sleep the night
Hmm.
before? I mean, for me, it's like an event. It's like a, the Cure show, and I'll tell my other friends that are not Cure people. I'm like, if I don't talk to you, if I'm not as like mentally engaged, it's nothing personal. I'm just so hyper focused
Yeah.
on on the gig, and that's just what I fucking love to do. And even when I try to not do it, I fail. So what I do is like if I say, all right, tomorrow's a big day, I'm going to try to get on the rail. It's Merriweather. Like for Merriweather this year, my friends and I thought, all right, we're going to be sitting in the sun all day. What do we need? We need comfortable chairs. How much are we willing to spend to to throw away, unfortunately, or just leave these chairs, these like, Walmart chairs. It's not very PC, but hopefully somebody brought them. But the point is that like we packed our water, we had snacks. It was like a thing. It was like going camping or something. And then when we got to the rail, like there was a lot of mutual aid. Like I remember you were there and my friends were on the other side, and we all were just like, come over here, go
Hmm.
over there, blah blah blah. Trying to look at like
Well,
who
I showed up that morning. I called you up. I said, "Get your ass over here!" Like, there's, you know, I'm number 5 in line or whatever it was. I can't remember, but you know, it was like, you know, here's the lay of the land. Like, that's part of our mutual aid too. Is like
the
we
lay of the land. Yeah.
share information. Yeah, and like that particular show, like in most shows, I don't come with a bunch of stuff usually. I just show up as lean and mean as possible. I kind of have a concert uniform I wear to all concerts. I like to wear leggings with pockets, so I can always stuff stuff in my pockets. I really should invent some sort of like wallet or something that goes in a bra or something, because I throw so much stuff. Like I've always like throw my phone. I need something like up here, but um, I always have my chapstick. I'm a real sensory person. I like having my chapstick,
Yeah.
So I always have that. I have a battery pack. I always have a cord, a backup cord, and my phone. And I just show up. At that particular show, though, I remember that was hot as hell. It's probably one of the hottest shows. The second hottest show of the whole year was that
Yeah.
one. It was hot as hell. I remember I got scorched, but during that day, because I'm kind of it's gonna make me sound weird. I'm a kind of a I like to have fun or whatever. I sunbathed. I have a picture of myself like topless sunbathing in front of the Merriweather box office sign, which to me is just wonderful, because it's like I have been going to that place Merriweather. I had my first kiss at Merriweather. That
Ooh.
venue means everything in my life, right? You know what I mean? I just love it. Like you could take my ashes and throw it on that stage. Like that's how much I love it, right?
Oh
And I have
man.
seen every Tour show there. I felt so much anxiety, like, waiting at that show, because I really was like, "I have to be front row on that for that show. This is The Cure.
Right.
This could be their last show ever, their last show at Merriweather. This means the world to me." I remember listening to I recorded it from the gates. I listened to the whole, sound check, which was just
Yeah.
magical. There was only a couple of us that did that. I was just like, it was that show. Like, if you're going to talk about shows, was for me like so important. But as far as like being a rail rat, there's so many factors. There's so much you have to go through. It really is kind of like, there's so much physicality to it that, but once you do it a bunch of times, if as long as you're in good shape, you can keep doing it. And I'm proof of that. I'm 51 and I've been doing this, for literally my whole Cure career, which is almost 40 years now. So,
Yeah, I think the other thing that is important, like at least I know what I do when I'm prepping in
mhm.
line. I kind of, and I know that you get, that's where I was like, I was trying to get to, but I got lost in my own thoughts. Is you kind of get into like a meditative state. Like it just means quieting the mind and preserving energy
Yeah.
for when you're going to, that sprint, that focus, you know what I mean? And that really helps me to the point where like a lot of people love,
I do that, but
yeah,
I also chat with people around me. I meet new people and talk with them, and
I
you
do that
learn,
too, but like
you learn
I
like
don't.
wonderful things about people. So that's part of the meditative part too for me. But I do have moments like where I spend a couple hours, 2, 3 hours, just being very quiet, not talking to anybody, because I'm getting my mind together, my nerves together, I'm just centering myself basically, you know, because I am about to go see The Cure up in the front row. It's so wonderful. It's such a great thing, and for me to like really be there and present for it, I just need to be my most centered, cool self, and that's part of doing that is being able to kind of like power down and recharge for a while and stuff, and just let your mind kind of work through stuff. So yeah, I use it for that. It's actually really a positive thing, to go through that before a show, for me at least. And
And you
I've tried going to pre-show meetups and all that, and drinking with people and hanging out, and that's fun. But every time I've done that, when I actually go to the show and I'm not in the front row in those circumstances, I'm not I'm not I'm not as happy at
yeah,
the show. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
I
just the way
do.
I am. I like being on the front, and it's just the way I am. And as long as I can physically keep trying to do it, and as long as we're as lucky as we are that the band is still playing for us, I mean, it's amazing that we still have them playing like this for our whole lives. We're so lucky. But as long as that is going on, I'm going to keep trying. It's part of my experience. So
Yeah, and
why not?
you also brought up, like at Merriweather or any shows, like fearing that it might be the last Cure show ever. And I just have to say, if there's any Cure members watching right now, just know that we always think it's the last show ever. It's so much
Nobody's
pressure.
watching.
I have to get, hold on, I have to get my Robert phone. Hold on.
I haven't been looking at
Hello.
comments, so I guess I should look at where am I looking at comments here?
I can't get Robert to return any of my phone calls. I don't know. Hey, you never know. Yeah, see, this is my call Robert Smith phone, but he never responds. Um, you never know who's watching what. I highly doubt anybody from The Cure is watching this, but I like to pretend that they might be. Um, Now that I've just completely fucked up my headphones,
I don't need them to.
um,
Okay, yeah, I don't need them to watch. It's okay if they don't, and I don't need them to. So okay, so I'm trying to look at these messages while you walked off. I'm sorry. Um,
so yeah, Bianca had a message about what show you thought had the best energy of 2023.
oh my gosh, wow, that's a really hard question to answer. I just cannot take away the passion of South America. South America shows that I went to for different reasons. They were all whatever for me personally. Um, oh boy, energy. Okay, positive energy would be Montevideo and Paraguay. Just beautiful, just animal energy. Buenos Aires, just really passionate. Crazy, wonderful. Like, I wanted to have like an experience that was really kind of like a rough and tumble Cure concert experience, and I got one there and I loved it. Um, I had Lima was an amazing experience to be around people that had not seen them, had really wanted to see them, worked hard to see them, to go to see that show. So that energy of the crowd was just, it was reverent, you know. Um, yeah, those shows for me were amazing. Bogota, I loved Bogota. The situation with us getting into there, I was on the rail for all the shows I went to, by the way.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
That was me putting my mind and my effort and my my intentionality into I really want to try to get on the rail. I didn't expect I'd get on the rail for every show, but I did. And each one was their own experience and either really difficult situations, like Lima was really hard. Um, Paraguay was wonderful. It was hard, but it wasn't as hard as anything like Lima. Lima, I think, was the hardest one to kind of
Why
wait for.
why is that?
Oh, just the location was in on the side of a really busy surface highway, like not highway but surface road, and we only had like about I don't know 2 feet maybe max to stand
Mm,
and this stucco wall like right next to us, which was just holding heat. It was hot as hell and
mm.
dusty, and there were fights. There was lots of different things going on. There was people that had bought spaces and or had were selling spaces in line, and they had
Ooh.
maybe a couple of security guards involved in that. But then the other security guards would come, and then there would be a fight, like an argument over all that. You had like these guys selling stuff, and it was just you had to literally walk in the middle of a really busy road even to get to the lineup area. The whole thing was just very, very, difficult. It was a very difficult. There wasn't any way to sit. or, have anything other than, and I just remember just standing there and breathing and shutting my eyes. I have my hat, I have it here. It's bad hair day anyway, so I should probably put on. I have my hat, just put down, and just stand there like this all day until they listen, with my eyes closed as much as I could, and taking tiny sips of water because I knew I had to make it last, you know. So just take like a little tiny sip. Kind of reminds me of like hiking in the desert, like in Arizona. But yeah, so yeah, that was really hard. But I would say, so to answer Bianca's question, like I felt Montevideo, so many things went right, including my live stream was just,
Oh, it was so
they had
fucking good.
perfect Wi-Fi there. I was on the rail. I had gone through the Buenos Aires experience, so I knew how to position and foot myself, like with the undulations of the you know the fans around you, because you're just part of a living organism, really.
Yeah.
At that point, I knew how I wanted other people to see what it felt like to be in the crowd, because I already had experienced that, and so I knew what, like, I wanted people to understand, like, this is really freaking cool, like this crowd here. So yeah, Montevideo was great. It was a great venue too, great sound. Yeah,
And it was my birthday, so thank you so much for the live
it was your
stream.
birthday. That was the other part of it, and I was like, okay, hon, it's your birthday.
I mean, I was
I'm gonna
thinking
give you a big
today,
present tonight.
I was thinking, I was like, where's that fucking live stream? Like, oh, it would have been so great to capture that, but we can't capture
Yeah.
everything. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
um,
So, any more other questions or that people have, or because I'm here to answer questions, I can start talking about the different shows on the tour, because we haven't really talked about that much about the 2023 shows. We talked about Merriweather, I think, and
well, yeah, I mean,
uh,
there was something you and I had an exchange, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get back to that seed thought, but I'm going to say this, and maybe it'll stir up because we can like go through shows, but what's always more interesting to me is like the takeaway, like the extraction. Like you and I, when I invited you to do this, you sort of said, I have a lot of reflections now that you've had some
yeah.
time from
Hmm.
2023 as a whole, like what it meant, what you learned, what you liked, what you didn't like.
Well, 2023 didn't happen, out on its own. It's part of 2022, right? So for me, 2022, I turned 50 October 6th, right? They were playing in Riga in Latvia, and I was like, there is no way in hell I'm not going to that show. It's my 50th freaking birthday. The Cure are playing on my 50th freaking birthday. So I like did everything I could to be able to go to that show. I took 3 planes to get there, all that stuff. I got them, I met beautiful people on the, waiting to go to the show. But I still low ranger mode, and I got on front row. Perry came out. I mean, that whole thing was just. I mean, the return of Perry, the whole thing was just
God,
like a
that must have been
magical
incredible.
show. You could feel the energy of Robert at that show, and like attention. Oh my God, we're playing live again. Like, there was you could feel that. It was such a wonderful experience, and so I had to come back. Originally, I was just going to that one show,
Oh,
right?
really?
Yeah, I had to come back. So I ended up coming back 2 other trips, because I found a cheap ass Iceland Play Air, it's called, like a cheap airline that flies via Iceland, and then you can,
Yeah.
did that. And what happened to me was I ended up at Wembley. I went to the 3 Wembley shows on my third leg,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I just had this realization um, after COVID. So during COVID, I went through a lot, like all of us did,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I had a wonderful experience, and really thanks to you and Carl, where I was like working like in full PPE in a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even have tests. It was like it was when it was like high, COVID, I had patients that were sick as hell. They lost their minds, they're like 40 something and they were like, completely had no cognitive functioning left, or they couldn't swallow because they were intubated for, months, like a month or two or something. And so I had like a whole bunch of like, just, it was just such hard working conditions. Um, and I had this deep sadness in me because I was like, I'm never going to get to see The Cure again. It was like this
Mm.
real feeling about that. I was so glad that I had leaned in to go see them in 2019 with my kids, but I was like, I can't believe it. That's it. Like I had that like internalizing in me.
Sure.
Um, but you guys did these, what do you call it? Not live streams, but, group watches with a watch
The
party.
watch party. Yeah.
Yeah. Every weekend, those watch parties meant so much to me. They really helped me out so much so that when, and during that period of time, I lost I don't want to talk too much about this, but I lost my sister. She died of an overdose and she was like 56. And that killed me. I was devastated. I lost my best friend a couple months later to uh, gun violence, you know, and I was devastated. I felt so alone and horrible. I felt terrible. Like a lot of us went through stuff. So to go to Riga and that first song comes out, alone.
Mm. Yeah.
This whole process, that was part of me in 2023 deciding, fuck, I'm going to fucking lean in and do this. I'm doing this. So I started with like 10 shows in North America in my mind. And I'm an anarchist. This whole ticket bastard thing came up, and then instantly it was just like, boom, we're going against the system here. We're going to try to make a new system that works for us. We're going to self-organize, and do things on a small scale. And it worked because this Cure community is so wonderful. The people, we could easily just like have a mutual aid situation come up and help people out and do this all, behind the scenes, small scale, people to people. And it's all those skills that I had getting tickets before the internet, or
Yep.
it's those same skills. It's those skills that we have in us, from doing all that stuff. And so, yeah, I just ended up, trying to see as many shows as I could. I am a mom. I live pretty intentionally lifestyle, so I live like on a small hobby farm. So I have, a lot of different things that I am responsible for, in my life. I have my own private practice and I work, with people and so, that have worked with me for a long time, that I'm responsible for. They're my clients and stuff. And so I had to like move a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
and manage different things, but I just rose to the occasion and did it because I really just felt like you only live once and time is passing us by. And I keep, it, there's so many ways that you can tell yourself why you can't do something. But I really, truly try to live my life to say, why not? Why not? Why not? Why can't I do it? Really? And when you try to orient yourself and do that and change your life into that, it makes it so that you can start going to a bunch of shows or whatever it is that you put your mind to that you want to do. You can write that song that you've been, trying to work on, or you can finish writing, something, whatever it is that is your joy in your life and your creativity, or you can make that happen if you just change things around. And I use that, something that I use in like therapy and stuff with my clients. I use those types of strategies, and I got to go see The Cure 32 times, and a lot of times on the front row. So that was, it may seem silly to some people, but for me, I am happy over the moon, happy that I had that in my life. I will be forever happy over that this past year. It's been magical for me.
Yeah, and I think I love what you said about being at Riga on your 50th, seeing Perry come out and then starting with Alone because hadn't heard Alone. We hadn't heard Alone. I mean, now it's like for some of us it's like
But,
in our DNA. Like an Alone
but
and
you
End
know,
Song.
the new songs that have come out are so wonderful. You know, a lot of them, lyrically, a lot of them are not um, masked. You know, like a lot of other Cure songs from the past. The older songs. They're using literary devices or poetic devices. They're kind of masking different things through allegory or whatever. They're very raw lyrics. I Can Never Say Goodbye is literally like the most intense, authentic lyricism about his experience. Um, you know, Losing his brother.
Yeah, and the
Um,
fucking drums and bass on that are so
exactly.
kick
It's
ass. I
and the way
can't
that
get over it.
it's amazing, and they're communicating as well. I mean, that music is like I said, the language. It's a universal language. So the communication that's coming through, Reeves' parts and Simon's parts, the whole thing, the drums, Jason. It's just the whole. I really, really love the new songs. I loved watching them evolve from when I first saw them in Riga to when I last saw them in Bogota. Do you know what I mean? Like I have gotten the biggest gift to watch those songs live over. I think I saw 41 total shows between 2022 and 2023. It's been wonderful to see that. They're so meaningful, but for me, they really helped me. They helped me get my confidence back and my hope back, and all the things that make Leenie Leenie. Like
Mm-hmm.
I shored them up again because I did that last year or this year. Last year, just 2024. Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, so we have a lot of comments coming in. Leanie, I don't know if you want to try
Yeah,
to look
just
at
tell me.
look it through any of them, but one of them that I wanted to address is someone says I have friends and family who don't get it, and I am still so perplexed at that, and I feel like it's been my lifelong mission to butt up against that because I don't get what there is to not get. You know what I mean? Like, I
Hmm.
don't understand why it's okay to be part of a fantasy football league. I don't even know what that means, but that's
Yeah.
okay. And if you own three houses and you go to them and you sit on a beach for the same amount of time as you would going to gigs, that's okay. But following a band around, it and I've discussed it with a lot of people over the years. It makes me wonder if people are jealous of the passion that they see. Um, I don't know. I don't know what that is. What do you think it is,
I
Leanie?
just don't give a rat's ass, honestly, about what other people think that way, like about me or about, I already have accepted for a long time. A lot of people have always thought I'm a little different or weird or crazy or whatever the hell that, whatever. I just have so much joy following the band. I understand that people think it's weird. I understand people are like, oh my God, you're an adult, grow up, all of that type of stuff. I have had moments where I have been like, I need to be an adult Cure fan now. I shouldn't be, at the end of the day, you only live once. I know what makes me feel really, really happy, what makes me feel passionate. I see a whole bunch of people and they follow football teams, or college teams or whatever it is that people get into. You do you, boo. I'm doing me. That's how I feel about it. And I'm just not going to let them get into my scene. I feel like, like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or any of those types of like stories,
Mm-hmm.
where you kind of open up and you go Alice in Wonderland. You're going in. I have a magic world, right? I'm sorry you haven't. If you don't know about it, that's whatever. I have this magic world. There's other people that have also discovered it, and it's like we have this little respite in our lives and it's beautiful. It's magical. It's wonderful, and you know, I don't care. There's lots of other things to be worried about. I'm worried about. I'm an environmental activist for many years now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff I'm worried about. You want to be concerned about what some middle-aged women and men are doing, or some young what I don't know. You need to get a life. You need to have some fun in your life if you're that concerned about what other people are doing. I think people should be have personal responsibility and be in charge of themselves, you know? And that to me is really kind of philosophically how I see the world. And I think that, so if somebody wants to go and follow, oh, it's a band I cannot stand. I don't know. Pick a band that you don't like. If they want to follow like a band that's terrible, right? I don't care. That's, they're enjoying their lives. I love this band. That's what I want to do is be able to see them while I can, because I've had so many times that I've been able to see them. Their music is so wonderful for me. Their lyrics, everything. I've used them for a long time in my life to help me feel happy, and they keep me happy when I listen to them. Um, they help me when I'm sad. You know, they help me get through terrible things. They help me when I feel isolated. They help me when I feel just like I can't even motivate myself to do my work. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have Cure songs that I put on to try to like get my mind turned around, or something. I listen to a whole bunch of different other music, of course, but I love dancing to them so much. I just love everything about them. So, if you don't like people loving stuff, screw you. That's your problem. You got problems. You need to get some, you need to
You
get
got
some,
you got problems, buddy. Let me tell you
you got
something.
problems. If you have a problem with somebody
Well,
enjoying their
but
life.
okay. I mean, fair. I mean, obviously. I mean, I feel the same way. But like, I brought this up in another talk. There's a documentary about Rush fans. It
Yeah.
follows their last tour, and they have hella fans,
Hmm.
like The Cure. And they interviewed this woman who worked in like advertising or something once upon a time. And then when Obama was getting elected, she decided, I'm going to go, give up my life there and I'm going to go work. She totally campaigned for Obama and she ended up working for him at the White House. And the interesting
Hmm.
thing is that she said to the president, she said, I have this pre existing condition. I'm a fucking Rush fan. And when Rush comes to town, I got to go. And
I love that.
Barack fucking Obama said, okay. And that is the world that I wish we lived in. But
Exactly.
there's a lot of companies, there's a lot of people that don't let us live like that. And I've personally been trying to build my own life around my own dreams of having my own freedom and
Yeah.
income on my terms, but it doesn't always
Yeah. Having
work out.
autonomy. Hmm.
Yeah, but so I get the frustration that people have, or some people in the chat are saying, my other half doesn't get it, but it sounds like a lot of people here, the other half doesn't get it, but they put up with it, and that's what's important. I think like if I fell in
Well, I
love
mean,
with,
I glossed over this earlier. I had another half that didn't get it, in the past, and was actively kind of against me liking the Cure. So the people go through stuff, and I understand that. But if you're with somebody who doesn't want you to be happy, who doesn't want you to be your happiest self or your best
right,
self,
right,
then there's trying to control you or own you or any of that type of stuff. Then maybe you should think about, like, I have to remind myself of that myself, because we all get into stuff. But I think that, you know for me, whatever it is, I mean, I have lots of things that make me happy. I'm generally a really happy person. I try to be, but and I try to spread happiness. It's actually an intentional part of my life. I really am like work on doing radical empathy and stuff as a part of my life. Um, but I do believe, that if you really, really, truly love something like we love The Cure, anybody who's around you is going to just embrace, if they love you for real, they're going to
Mm-hmm.
embrace it
Mm-hmm.
because it's part of you.
Yeah.
It's part of your quirkiness or your eclecticness or whatever it is, all the little parts of us that make us unique. That's what, you know. So I mean, I cry. I don't even have to tell my family. This is like a wonderful part. I don't even have to tell my kids, for example. I don't have to tell them like what I want for Christmas. Everybody knows we're getting mama a Cure thing, right? Always. All my gifts are like, you know, some Cure thing. You know what I mean? Every year. So I love that. I feel really, that makes me feel like so happy that I'm gotten that way. Do you know what I mean? That, and so I think that, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I'm going to live out loud and be a proud Cure fan. But I do understand some people can't have that because we don't live in a liberated world, you know, and they aren't able to, maybe because of their work, you know, or a spouse or some other type of situation. They're not able to be of Cure fan that can use their name or use their, or even be involved in stuff or go to the shows as much as they want to, But that's one of the things that, for me, the live streaming really became something really important for me, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as like, because I am somebody that really does try to give back. I spend a lot of my time, I work with people that, you know, I create reciprocal relationships with them to help them better themselves and become the best version of themselves, and it helps me become the best version of myself. And live streaming, when I first started, I thought, okay, the shows that I have seats that aren't very good, and if there's nobody else live streaming, then I will live stream. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I first started off live streaming. And my friend Colm, who who I met through the community and stuff, who's wonderful. He had showed me how to live stream. He would live stream on The Cure on his day on his, and that's where I live stream on his channel. Well, it's so anyway, I started to live stream that way. Um, but over time, I started to realize how it would be really cool if I could push myself to live stream from the rail,
Mm-hmm.
which is a whole nother animal than live streaming from a seat over on it's a whole thing because you are holding your space on the rail and you've got that whole physicality part of it. Plus,
Yeah.
you're putting a object in between yourself and that experience.
Yeah.
Like it's really like you taking like really going to the next level of radical love, right? So that's to me is why that experience for me was really important to push myself to do that because I really wanted other people to have a chance that couldn't have a chance. And
Right.
I would get like the guy who thanked me earlier, I would get these messages sometimes from people and they just, you know, they had cancer or they have, a loved one they're taking care of who's sick or
Or
they
they're
have
broke.
different things. They're broke. But they would say, I am so thankful that you did that for me to be able to I had that joy. Like they got that joy. So even though I was in a situation where ostensibly I could be like, fuck, I'm not like, I'm in the front row and I'm not getting to see this. And I feel it's like holding a baby, like I'm trying to like, you know, have the show and all this type of thing, and you're trying to deal with the Wi-Fi, all that type of stuff. And
Sure.
you got to keep your space. The minute you move your arms on the rail, if you know anything about rail positioning, you're like making yourself vulnerable to get pushed out of the way or changing your spacing. I love to dance. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, I love dancing to The Cure live. It's like, it's a thing for me, right? So, but you know, when you're live streaming, you can't do that very well, or it's just hard. But I think what happened with me with live streaming is that something magical, because it's the magical community I think we have of people. People would be on there, and it was like they were there with me. And if I was able to like read comments and stuff and be a part of that, it's like a whole thing where we're all there together. I sometimes I wish we didn't have Instagram. We had like a better live stream platform, because they doesn't save like the comments and stuff. And I've lost a couple of shows. I wish I didn't lose like parts of the shows, because they don't upload. If you don't get it uploaded like right then when you stop the feed, it dumps it. So you
Yeah,
have to like,
yeah.
there's all these like stressful parts, that people don't understand that's going on with it. I've actually thought about, like, if we ever are lucky enough that they play again and we get to go do that, and I am live streaming, like you and I, like towards the end, I had you do a moderator thing, and I was like, if we had somebody offsite recording the actual live stream with the thing, with the comments, you would actually get all the comments and people, that having that community experience together. You would also get the show and not have to worry so much about losing it, you know, if the power goes, if the Wi-Fi is no good. Yeah, so I've thought like about it, and I've been thinking about like how to improve it. And I feel like over time, I will probably continue to live stream if I'm needed to. I won't choose it like first and foremost. I am still a selfish Cure fan, and I want to be up in the front row and stuff like that. But I have gotten so much joy that I never even knew was possible by putting that device in between myself and my front row experience, and actually trying to share that with a whole bunch of other Cure fans that love them as much as I do. It like actually was an exponential force magnifier, of the love experience and the joy I felt. So yeah, that to me, like if I walk away from anything from 2023 with the joy I've had and everything like that, to have that level of joy coming out of a Cure show, and to have the joy just keep resonating and reverberating after the show, because you might get like a thank you, or just, it's really the small things. And that's how I try to live my life. I try to live happy in the small things, and it's in those moments, if you make them more and more small happy moments in your life, you end up having a great day, and then another great day, and it just kind of keeps going and going. And it gives you the strength for the days when you have a hard time, when something really difficult does happen. So for me, going to Cure shows, seeing them live, being a person who's relied on live streams when I've had my kids really young and I couldn't go, or having our lives that we watch together, the watch parties, all of that stuff is pure. It just brings so much happiness, in me. And I know it brings happiness to all of us together when we do that. So it's something that's, if you look on the surface, it just looks like we're just a bunch of, nutbags that, need to get a life and not start keep following a band and stuff like that. I have a life. I have a great life. I have wonderful kids. I have a career. I have lots of beautiful friends all over the place. I really try to live each day like to have wonderful experiences. I really don't watch TV. I think that's a positive for me, at least. It doesn't. I actually try to live like an authentic life, and so by having the Cure tour happen and going to all of these shows this year has given me so much joy, like so much happiness and so much love. I just don't think I could ever it's the most wonderful thing that ever happened to me is to basically have a year like this to really get myself feeling strong and supported again, you know. So
Um,
anyway, I tried
what?
to give you as much my internal emotion as I could about it, but
No, it's beautiful. Wild Wisdom says, for fans with disabilities who couldn't go to gigs, you have both given us a lot of joy. Um, there's a lot of new people that have joined that I have not been able to say hello to. Um, but hello, I think
if you want
Andy.
to talk like more about the actual shows, I'm happy to do that too because there's a lot of stuff I observed, during each shows and different things like that. I don't know if that's something that interests you,
Yeah, I mean, I, I
or
mean,
how we
I,
organize to go to shows. I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I could ask about, but there was one that, oh, there was a question that somebody had asked a long time ago. Since you've been such a rail rat and you're showing up all over the place, do you have somebody's asking if the band sees you, if they're like you again, or
I don't
does that
know.
even matter?
I don't know. I don't. I try to. My focus is to get on the rail, and you know, I'll give you an example. This is kind of getting a little too deep, probably, but well, I've already gotten too deep anyway. But anyway, I haven't watched the Argentina show, and apparently I was on screen for that. Like, and I've had
Yeah.
screenshots sent to me. I was in a nightclub at a Cure after party, which was fun with a bunch of Cure fans, and they played one song and my friend Franco was like, Leenie, look, I was like, and the minute I saw myself, I was like, oh my God. I was like I had like that, mortified or whatever feeling, or I don't know how to describe it. I don't need, I have met the band in the past several times over the years. I made a conscious decision, I think after around Curiosa, that I don't need to meet them anymore. I feel like they have really they have lives now where they're not able to go out as freely as they could, and so I just don't want to. I'm all about people feeling confident and free and liberated. I'm a communitarian anarchist. It's where I come from philosophically and politically. It's the way I organize my life, um, and I don't want to add to that stress of not having your freedom, and I feel like for me, when I go to shows, it's about I get up on the rail. I love the music part and I love watching them play. I love the lyrics. I love hearing Robert sing it live, and the little nuances. I love hearing the flourishes on the guitar, the way the songs arrangements change,
Mm-hmm.
I feel the songs. I dance through all the shows. Well, I'm a very sensory person, so I want to not just hear it. It's a whole thing for me, and so I really am in that zone. I don't know if they're watching me or if they know who I am or if they are. Oh, there she is again. Um, I definitely, you know, feel that when you are up on a stage like that and there's just from our perspective it's us the individual, but from them there's a sea of faces and there's a whole bunch of whatever. I'm not trying to like go there and really kind of draw a lot of attention to myself. I'm not coming with roses with every show or signs or like that type of thing, and I definitely have noticed that draws attention because when you're up on a stage and you've got lights in your face and all this stuff and you've got a lot of sensory deprivation, you've got like uh, in ear monitors, like all this stuff around you. The thing that's going to like drop that's going to make you like notice somebody is a sign of roses, that type of thing. I don't think that it's easy to be able to spot people in general when you're up there
Plus, I
playing.
have to say that it's. I mean, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that follow the Cure. Like, I'm sure there are so many people that they've probably been like, I've seen your fucking mug before, but like you said, like they're working and they're focusing on the music, and sometimes it's not that great to be seen over and over again. At least that's how I feel sometimes. Like, I love being in the front row sometimes, but other times I'm like, oh, like it's just one thing I've noticed of like my own personal Cure experience is that it it was always about me looking out at them, and that's how I wanted it. And sometimes when it's the reverse, I'm like, whoa, I don't know if I want this. I kind of want to, you know, be with my people in the shadows. So
Yeah. I mean, I mean, where I'm at now, I've been a fan for a long time. So, and I've grown up, so I've developed, like, developmentally, of course I was like in love with Robert and had the posters everywhere. And it's, there's nobody's ever going to be, whatever. We've all gone through all that. I'm 51. I just feel like at this point in my life, or even in the past, like I said, it's been a long time I felt like this. I want them to be the regular blokes that they are. I want them to be able to have that lifestyle and that freedom and that liberation. And it can't be easy. I mean, I thought about this like during the Euro tour. It can't be easy to go to all these beautiful freaking cities and you can't really even go out and enjoy yourself. I thought that was really actually something that was wonderful about the South America tour. I think just from social media and stuff like that, I think the band actually were able to go out a little more, be more less hotel bound, or had a little bit more freedom. There wasn't freedom like around the hotels, though. Of course, that they were mob scened actually more than America. But I just personally, karmically, I don't want to. I don't want to have that negative karma of like making people feel like trapped. And so I don't want people to have that feeling. I definitely don't want them to. I want them to feel free, liberated, creative, you know what I mean? Like all of that type of stuff. And you're not gonna, I think it's really important for us fans to kind of let them have their private lives, and let us, we leave it at the rail. That's how I kind of feel about it.
right. This is a totally separate subject. Mark Dodd says, I have a Forest question for 2023. In 2016, Denver, they returned to full jam towards the end of the song. So did that happen again on this tour, this year's tour?
Full jam.
Yeah,
Well,
I
it
would,
depends on what you mean by full jam, because I wouldn't say that 2016 was full jam. There's other eras I think were more full jam, if you're going to go into that, where they would go into Forever. I've got, there's the Constance show where they had 42 agains. I mean, what's one of my favorites.
oh my God, what show was that?
Oh,
What show
oh
was
my
that?
God. Constance. I think it was 87. Holy shit.
42
Whew.
agains?
Was it 89? It 42. Yeah.
Again and again and again. And the fact that you remember that is pretty.
I have no, a forest. I have a whole thing of forest lives. I mean,
Really?
I can nerd out on that type of stuff too. But as far as like the question that you just had though, so 2016, you're talking about like Simon, like really kind of, I thought like that's kind of stayed kind of similar throughout the tour. There were some shows more than others where he really kind of played it out more. But I do find that the current version of A Forest, the end part, is a little abbreviated compared to in the past, like older versions live.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe people have other opinions, but that's mine.
I was getting hung up. I always get hung up on. I want them to always go into forever, forever and
Yeah,
ever and ever. Um,
yeah. There's that era of it. There's other,
there was one. There was actually one show. I don't remember which one it was, where Simon.
and it's not at the end of the show anymore as well. I think that's a
Right.
part of
Right.
it too,
There was,
right?
yeah, there was one forest this year. I can't fucking remember where it was, but it was like Simon did not go into anything at the end. He just went dun it, dun it, dun it, dun it. That was it. And it was like it was so,
Yes, no, I was at
I don't remember what show that was, but that was actually probably the first time I've ever
seen
seen
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he walked right off the stage. I remember that. Yeah, maybe somebody in the chat can, I don't have all those details. I just kind of live in the moment, actually. But
Well, I think
yeah.
a forest is such a fucking like great example of like the Cure song. Well, I mean, everybody has their own version of this, but that song, it never gets old. It's always changing a little bit. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like this year, we saw the new songs change and evolve, which is like another topic we could talk about. But a forest is like, it just becomes this like Cure anthem. And I mean, there are songs that I have to say, like, I am so sick of hearing live, but that's just because I've been very lucky to go to so many tours. And that's me
Hmm.
being, whatever. I have opinions. I'm not going to love every single fucking thing that my favorite anything does. But A Forest is just monumental.
Hmm.
Monumental
Yeah,
live.
it's Honey, Honey, that song. Woo! I love it. It's what can I say? It's bliss. It's pure bliss, that song. I don't know what else to say about it.
So, what are some of the things that you observed? You were talking about like some of the shows. I remember there was one show you were like, they were fucking eating pizza like in the second row, like the
That
crowd.
was more than one show, actually, and that's America. So I got to go to America, North America, and South America, right? And very night and day. The crowds, the whole way the shows were set up. Most of the American shows, except for I did not go to Denver. That was one of the shows that was GA, um, or Merriweather, which I did go to.
Right.
I think that those were the only two GAs. Everything else was seated. And so we were living that whole ticket bastard, dance of getting tickets, trying to get better tickets, you know, the whole thing. So to get up in the front, in order to do that, I was able to get front tickets because there was a small group of us that started working together, and people had different computer skills, and other methodologies too, where we, outsmarted ticket bastards. But they would release tickets just out of the blue. We actually would watch those tickets get snapped up by the tickets scouts, which they were not supposed to have them, but they had created a whole system themselves to be able to transfer tickets, you know. So it was an imperfect, situation. We all had to manage not being able to transfer tickets back and forth. But what would happen though is that when I would get up in the front, I had a few shows, one of them, Toronto, literally the dudes, three or four of them next to us, sat on their phones. I had San Francisco. I was at that show, obviously dial a date type of situation, with like a real, rich dude and some chick, that's probably, whatever. And they literally spent the whole time
Dial a date.
selfieing for 2 songs, and they left. Yeah. Oh, it was obvious. So there was a situation where, people literally are like left to go get pizza and come back, and they're literally sitting in second row or third row. And I'm like next to them dancing like a motherfucker, like I do. And I'm just like, and they're like giving me like the evil eye because I might like knock over their soda or something. And I'm just like, what could that be like to look out in this crowd just stuffing their face on just, just stuff like that. I took pictures after shows because it was like leaving, like a movie theater on steroids, like the floor with the popcorn and the nacho cheese smeared, and all that. It was just like Philadelphia was like, I was like, what in the hell? Like people who came and bought a whole bunch of food and drink and blah blah blah, and you're up in the upper decks because I was in the upper level for that.
Yeah.
Um, it was like going to like a football game, I guess, for them or something, or going to see a
So
movie,
weird. So
and you sit
weird.
there and stuff your face and watch a show. Not everybody, but a lot of people around me were doing that. And so I think all of us had experiences observing that or seeing that. It was a very different, type of experience, I guess, to see that and be around that energy. It's
Mm-hmm.
a um but yeah, I did not see that in South America really at all. I don't think I can remember seeing that. People were very passionate at the shows. And there were passionate people in the American shows, but so many of the premium seats ended up being sold, I believe, through the ticket companies.
Mm-hmm.
That up in the front, there weren't. It would be peppered with mega fans, and then people, and you're just like, all the work that we did to get tickets. How the hell does this dude that's not even interested in this band, get these seats? And that's a whole nother story and waiting to be uncovered possibly. I don't know,
Right.
but
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of comments about like people getting like, I don't get what the eating thing. It was like Dom says it was like movie theaters with restaurants. Um, Atlanta
mhm.
was the worst. Shirley asks, she says, we know Robert prefers to sing and it's always a treat to hear from him. What was your favorite time he spoke or in 22, 23, or do you remember any bits
When he
after?
spoke
Yeah.
or sang or what?
No, I think she's just talking about like all the in between stuff.
When he checked. I mean, he I post. I have so many, and I'm going to start posting more just because I don't want to be a pure hoarder, and I kind of am. But I I love the in between bits. A lot of times when Robert talks and stuff, I kind of wish that everybody would talk some, but a lot of times when he talks, he's talking about things being, different and stuff. I have one. Maybe I'll post it if I get. I don't know if I'll get time today, but I'll post it soon this week or something. And I loved it. He basically talked about how it was in New Orleans, and he had just gotten, how it's weird to be back playing again and feeling that, being up there and stuff and getting used to, oh, we're actually doing this. It was
Right.
just one of these real moments where he was actually like being very like authentic about the experience of, oh my God, we're starting this tour. I'm up here on stage, I'm playing, and it seems surreal to me,
Right. Right.
But he didn't say it like that. He said it in his cute,
No,
quirky,
no, no,
Roberty
no,
way.
no, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's wonderful. So no, I love his dialect. He's got a wonderful dialect.
Um, I know it's just fun to make fun,
Strange.
especially because a lot of people I know still have absolutely no idea what he's saying in between just because of his accent, which I think is hilarious.
We're stretching. You got me sitting here for so long.
I am making you sit. Um,
Okay.
uh, I have never met the band, but Robert singing Kyoto song um, behind me face to face for some seconds all my life. I remember this moment. Oh yeah, I mean that was I think something that we saw more in 2022 and 2023 is Robert's interaction with the audience. I think it started happening in
Yeah.
2018, 2019 more.
Yeah. Yeah. He. I also felt that they really like, and especially in South America, like the Buenos Aires show and stuff. They really felt the energy of this because you have the fans and they're going, Roberto, or ole, ole, ole. They were really feeling kind of that energy of the fans, like adoring them, or
Mm-hmm.
that special joy, right? Um, and I think that you could feel it, like, when they were playing, there was like an extra electricity. There was the energy that was just so strong at those shows, but it was coming from them too. I really enjoyed that. Um, as far as like songs and stuff, I mean, there's so many moments, like one really, really special moment for me that I just, so I had, when I was a teen, I had a boyfriend that was a Cure boyfriend of mine, and we had not seen each other. Like, we went to the Chicago, he lives in Chicago, he still does. And I had not seen him since the prayer tour,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we did like several shows. We stayed friends. He's a dad with family and stuff. We've always stayed friends and stuff, and in touch. But he had gotten tickets to go see them. We were quite up in the front. I think like fourth row, maybe, or fifth row, something like that. We were really up in the front, and they played like cockatoos, and it was like, this is that era of songs when he and I knew each other. We just both looked at each other and we just like put our arms around each other, like, oh my God, they're playing, it was one of those, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just brought back that all that love, emotion, all that energy. It was beautiful. So there's many moments that I felt like, like different types of moments. That particular moment was really, really special to me because it was like, we we met each other. We were together like in a certain time in my life, a certain time in his life. um, we both have always loved the Cure, you know what I mean? And to like reconnect as friends, like as adults and friends and stuff like that, and to see, wow, you're the same freaking person, I'm the same freaking person, here, come meet my other Cure friends, you got to meet him, and so it was just like a really, like, beautiful, beautiful moment, just a human moment of what's so wonderful about being able to love passionately and be authentic with people and stuff like that. When that song came on, I was, I don't know, it was just incredible to us, and it was kind of a kiss me type of set too.
Mm.
And so it was like, I don't know. It just felt magical. Actually, the both of us felt like it was like a magic type of thing. Like, it was sensing that energy that we were bringing to the show. We both felt it, and we talked about it like that. So, yeah, that was one moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think a
Of us.
lot of like what a bigger takeaway in this whole conversation is if you go wide, like if
Yes.
we're
Go ahead.
if we no, and I'm just saying, like, if we think about what we've been talking about and like the repeating themes of this
Yeah.
particular conversation, it's that, you know, we we need to love what we love and like what we like, and not be apologetic about it and embrace it. And if you don't have
Yeah.
people around you that support that, and who can appreciate you for being you, then you may need to find some other people. And I'm not talking about every single person in your life. I'm not talking about quitting your job and leaving whatever. I'm saying that you need to at least find some people who, even if they don't get why you're so obsessed about this frickin' band, that when they see how excited you get and they see your 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 eyes light up and that you get have full attention, that they're happy for you, because you would want that for them.
Absolutely. And just, one other thing that I think is really, for me, is a huge thing, is that time is passing us by, you know
Yep.
it's passing all of us by, and we've been really lucky to have this band for for as long as we have, especially us long-term fans. to be able to have them through our life has been, to me, it's I feel like I won the lottery, honestly. But I think we really need to like look at how we put our own shackles on ourselves sometimes, by telling ourselves we can't do something or something is impossible. And when you kind of reframe things and actually envision making things possible, and making changes, small changes, it actually works. And I do believe in that. And that's how I was able to go to all these shows. I really focused on it. I took the resources that I had and organized them so that I could. And, and I understand that not everybody has that ability to do that, but to look at your life and ask, why not? Why can't I do something? You only live once. And I would, you know, gently, kindly coax people, I guess is the word, I don't know. And I'd say, come on, come to this show. You only live once, YOLO, try. And I had a bunch of Cure friends that started doing like if I say that to them, they'd act. My friend Sean Sawyers, he's Big Sean, we call him. Um, I would YOLO him. He'd end up showing up at the show. He'd come to the show. I love it when we actually sit back and try to like live our lives to the fullest, and be that way, because time is passing us by, and we really, we really have had some wonderful experiences, and we need to just keep having them as long as we can, because someday it's not going to be there anymore. And rather than worrying about the time that it's not going to be there, just live each day like it's to its fullest. That's how I try to be. I'm not perfect at it, but it's how I try to like reorient myself. And going to see 32 freaking Cure shows in 1 year is living my life to its fullest. There's no doubt about it. It's been absolutely wonderful. The only thing that I wish is I wish they played Faith, on this in this year, but they didn't. The last time they did was in Wembley, so I hope that comes back on rotation. So
Um, I don't think Simon will pick up on this phone either. This is the Robert phone, but si-
I don't know if they're going to
Simon
hear it.
Simon probably wants us to play. Wants to play. What does he want us? Because they always
I think
argue.
if we all put our magical energy into hoping for a certain song, that we might be able to conjure the song into existence of in somebody's mind or something. That's what I hope.
Simon's gonna say like, "Let's play the Hungry Ghost," and you're gonna say, "No, let's play Faith." Just kidding. I don't. I
Please,
really don't.
Siamese twins. Siamese twins. You really want to go deep into what I want? I have a list.
I want to hear. Okay, let's go light. Light. Get it. Light.
Yeah,
I want to hear about
yeah.
you lighting your hair on fire.
I didn't light my hair on fire.
Tell us a
Some
story. Take us back.
Okay, 87, you mean? Okay.
Yeah.
So I was at the Ritz. I'm a little girl, little tiny thing, teen. I'm on the rail, and some bitch behind me is just hassling me. She's got her freaking elbow in my fucking shoulder. She's like pushing on me. She's doing the standing on my ankles, like all that stuff that people do to kind of harass people off the rail, right? When there's, and I'm just like kind of holding my thing, I'm up in the front row. I'm happy as hell, but I'm also, I am from Baltimore. I'm not, I've been around. This person just kept hassling me, right? She's like I don't know, maybe she's like in her 20s. I don't know how old she was. She wasn't, but she's older than me, and I was up in New York. She's like, who knows, from Bronx, Brooklyn, Long Island. She was a local from up there.
I'm from
Um,
Staten Island. Just kidding.
Yeah, kind of like a cousine or something they call him or whatever. Like she was just like, a total, like New Yorker type of person. I I smelled it first. That smell, that smell.
I do.
The bitch, that's remember they used to allow you to bring lighters into the to shows and
Yeah.
stuff. She lit my fucking hair on fire behind me, and I was just like, and I realized that my hair was burning. And so I don't know. I mean, you just react. I don't know. I reacted. She had a bloody nose after that. Okay. I
Oh,
don't know what happened. It was one of my, it's my worst rail like experience. Honestly, that's my number one worst rail experience. Thank God it happened in 1987. It hasn't, it's been up, it's been much better ever since.
well, wait.
So
Did she light your hair because she was smoking a cigarette, or was she being an asshole?
no, she was trying to get me off the rail. She was trying to pick me off the rail.
Oh,
That's why she lit my hair on fire.
oh my
She
God.
didn't burn that much. I mean, but I had like, I had like a thing going for a bit, like where I had like,
Right.
it was like this short, like in like one little area and stuff. But who the hell does that?
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
unnecessary. Yeah, people.
but even that happening to me, I honestly would prefer that type of a passionate crowd than the pizza
Right.
delegates. I don't want that.
Same.
So, yeah.
Same.
Um, I got pretty bruised up at some of the South American shows, but I'm okay with that. That's fine. That happens.
I personally love the like pull and sway of a good pit. I love it. It's
I
so
love it.
energizing.
I'm an old school DC punk. I did slam dancing. I love all that stuff. I love humans touching each other and being around each other and the whole contact, the whole physicality of the sensory part of like going to see
I
music
mean,
and shows,
there's a
expressing
protocol
ourselves,
though.
that. Oh yeah, no, I'm not talking about like creeps at a concert. I've had
Yeah.
that. I had that on this tour, where you get some creep right behind you, and you're just like, boo. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about everybody loving and dancing together and
Yeah.
enjoying it and just being in that, um, that just beautiful community. It's a real community experience. I love that. And I definitely had that in Buenos Aires. I felt it. I felt that deep passion in Montevideo, where people were just really just very much together, like as in a group, enjoying the band. I love that. The one thing I do want to talk about, I have not talked about, and I'll do this quickly, but the fans in South America were so young, and it really is where the future Cure fan base is growing exponentially. Is I went to shows now in Europe recently. I went to many North American shows, and without a doubt, I was astounded by how many young people love the Cure in South America. And I had some beautiful experiences where I was able to be on the rail more than once, um, next to people that had seen their first Cure show. So they're like next to me who's seen a Cure show like a lot of times, and this is their first time. And to have that kind of mutual experience together, and it was beautiful. And when I talk to them, they're really young and they
Yeah.
love the band like we have always loved the band, and they know every word, and they're on their own Cure journey now, and it's wonderful. I also got to meet some people and be around people um, that are beautiful fans. You know, followed the band for a long time, you yourself included. You know what I mean? And having that type of community with people just it meant the world to me. I've met some people that I feel like are like family for me. I have a beautiful group of people that I've met, and hope I will know them for the duration of my life. So
Same. Same. So we have about 10 minutes till we hit the 2 hour mark, which is usually when
okay, and
I
then I
cut.
have to go. My cousin's playing at DBA at 5, and I gotta. go down there. Or no, you know what? I'm cool. Yeah, my clock on my phone. Yeah, my clock on my phone is right. The one on the computer is wrong. So okay, it's an hour ahead.
Yeah, so it's Mardi Gras in Nor.
It's Mardi
Fascination.
Gras season. Yeah.
It's Fascination Street inspiration
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
non-inspiration. I actually read a quote recently about Fascination Street and Bourbon Street and all that stuff, and how in some of the lore it's sort of like Robert and the whole band went out at 1 million o'clock. This was an interview with him from some magazine that I found from whatever year, but it was actually saying he went out, at 1 million o'clock at night to go find that thing again, to go searching as if he could search for, like, target a search for that bliss. And he sort of was like, as if I could, you know what I mean? Um, and I thought that was interesting
That is
because,
very interesting.
yeah.
You
But then
should
again,
send that to me. I'd love to read that more.
yeah, I'll have to find it. I go on this, there's a great website called Flowers of Love,
Mhm.
made by this guy in girl or they, they're them, I don't know, in Czechoslovakia, right? What am I saying? The Czech Republic. Oh my God, I'm showing my age.
Flower, Flowers of Love. I'll have to remember that
Yeah,
one.
the Cure, CZ Flowers of Love, and this person has scanned in a bazillion magazines. It's so amazing. There's so many resources out there like that for us right now. I kind of fear that they will go away.
Yeah.
Just as far as like cataloging the Cure, like Cure Concerts DE is unbelievable. And as far as like looking back and like what concert, what list, what this, what that, all beautifully cataloged. Um, these are
We
things I
have some
think
great archivists in our community, I'll tell you that.
I know, and that I would love to sort of umbrella it all, but I'm only one person, and I can only do one thing. But yeah. Anyway, so you're back to New Orleans. So you're in New Orleans. You're gonna go out. Have you already gone out for Mardi Gras?
Yeah, I came back here. Actually, the tour actually brought me back here. I went through Katrina. I lived here for a long time, and the tour brought me back here. I had a beautiful experience. My cousin is a musician here, so when I came in May, I came for he was playing in Jazz Fest, and then I got to see the Cure's first show on the North America tour. It was just a beautiful
Right.
time. Um, and I've come back now. This is the second time I've come back since then. I have my niece and my family here and stuff. So this time I came back because I lived here for a long time. I was an activist here, really involved in the community. I had a home, and I went through Katrina, and then left, and after went through all that stuff. But the bottom line for me though was that part of my healing, this year, my self therapy was coming to terms with the long term loss I've always felt about not living in New Orleans anymore. And it's
Mm.
been so hard for me. I love it here.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much been my best home, and the way I left was through like a displacement, like a lot of us. And so I've always felt that displacement, and I love this city so much for its love of music. It's so guided by music. It's a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful place. So I've come back this time because a good friend of mine had passed away before the South America tour, and a whole bunch of my friends were able to meet and have a remembrance for him. So I got to see a lot of people I haven't seen since Katrina on this trip I'm having this weekend. Then it's Mardi Gras season. I got to see a Mardi Gras parade last night, a small one, but a small, French Quarter crew um, that I got to watch. And I used to march in Mardi Gras parades. I was a dancer in Mardi Gras parades for years, and so um, I haven't seen one in like 18 years, and I saw one last night. I was just over the moon, just loved it. Um, and I've been seeing old friends and staying up all night talking with them, and that type of stuff, and just having a really wonderful type of experience being back here. It's always, the lore has always been, and I always felt this, that this was the band's or Robert's favorite American city. I have a history of seeing them here for years and stuff, and seeing beautiful shows here, and so the whole thing for me is, you know, part of the reason why I was like, okay, I'll do this live even while I'm on this show, on
Mm-hmm.
this trip right now, was because I knew I was going to be in New Orleans, and it is a big part of my cure story, and my cure journey, so yeah, so I'm having a great time. My cousin's playing, he's a guitarist, he's playing tonight. I'm gonna go see him, probably hang out with him, and I got some friends coming, so I'm having a wonderful weekend in general, because I'm letting music and the cure keep me grounded and happy and focused on, staying happy. So it's so, I always find it so wonderful because, or funny, because so many people are like, oh, you like the cure, you're all doom and gloom, yeah, it's been like that all the time, as we've been, you're like kind of depressed or whatever. I just think we're thinkers, but most of the cure people I know have always been pretty happy, fun loving people that like to, get together and hang out and be kids. We just a bunch of grown up kids,
Well,
so
I also think that well, two things I want to remember that you said, guided by music. That's a really great. I love that sentence, and I'm going to
yeah,
burn it in my brain.
it is.
But the other thing that I feel like a lot of people don't get about the Cure, at least like for me, um, is it's always been for what they stood for. When I
Mm.
first, I mean, they still stand for it, but when I say stood for it, in as far as in the very beginning when I was getting to know them, through MTV, through interviews, through music videos, I would just hear over and over and over again, whether it was Robert Smith being interviewed alone or the whole band is there around him, is sort of like, we do what we do because we want to, and when we don't want to do it anymore, we're not going to do it anymore. And if we don't release an album in 4 years, we don't release an album in 4 years. And so for me, as a young person trying to find my way, I was not only drawn to the music, but it was the message of a band. Like there's that thing in Les Enfants du Rock, which he's like,
Hmm.
Robert says, "Oh, we all dress this way so we can find each other in rail stations." Ha ha ha. It was like it was a it was a band. It was a gang, a group, and a
Yeah.
group of people that I felt like were like, you know what? Even the tone of the music can change because I don't give a fuck. Like if I want to write a happy
Hmm.
song, I'll write a happy song. If I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling sad. If I want to do wild mood swings, if we want to do wild mood swings and have 10 different people involved, fine. And then Blood Flowers changes again. I mean, it's just, for me, part of the cure journey is that authenticity and
Yeah.
honesty,
Yeah.
you know, and this
Complete.
integrity.
Hmm. Yeah. The authenticity is key, you know, and that's why, I think that so many of us have been, we live in a fucking fake world, around us, of fake systems, and this type of stuff, and to have a place where you can go and turn this music on, and it's real. It's real for me. It's real for you. It's your reality. It's my reality. It can be what it is, but the lyrics, the music itself, the way that it's evolved over time, the way that they structure their arrangements and stuff, with
Mm-hmm.
the layers on the songs, the length of I mean, I could nerd out for hours and talk about the evolving arrangements with this, and how that's, but more like how that's been the journey of, you know, changing. It's us developing. It's like the wisdom. You can see the wisdom like growing and becoming, itself. I just am so happy beyond belief that they are still playing and they're playing so well. I literally have seen them 32 times this past year. They are playing really, really well right now. And I hope it continues. I
Mm-hmm.
really hope that I know that they just gave a lot of themselves, you know, a lot to
Yeah.
go do those tours. That South America tour was a rough, it was a hard tour. It's a lot of travel.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of turning yourself on and off, and the North America tour, I mean, they did a large tour, I just hope that people appreciate the new songs for what they are. They're beautiful, wonderful Cure songs. I think they're absolutely amazing. End song
Oh my
is like
God.
Cure canon at this point,
Forget about it. Forget
Um,
about it.
I
It's ridiculous. It's so good.
it's amazing. It's ridiculous. It's
I,
so freaking good. But that's just one of, it's I am just so happy that that we survived Ticket Bastards. I mean, they really could have screwed that whole tour up, and they didn't. That tour was wonderful, even with the pizza people and all that type, and the Ticket Bastards and all that stuff.
the pizza
It
people.
created us. It created for us a wonderful way to organize, right? And for me, like, and create mutual aid, and have, on a small scale, ways that we could start helping each other. We found tickets for people. We helped people that couldn't afford tickets, and somebody might have bought an extra ticket and getting it flipped around, all through word of mouth or people knowing this or certain people having skill sets that are able to, that it's how we were able to like get everything together, and those skills like carried over to, that capacity building. It carried over to South America, where we had like a nice crew of people traveling around, of international fans traveling around and meeting and connecting with South American fans, that were long-term fans and stuff like that. I am so into like learning more about tribute bands now and everything. I am so fascinated by the beautiful community and culture, that Cure community and culture that has evolved in South America, because they don't go there that often,
Right.
And I actually think that's what cultivated so many young fans, is that there's this cool scene and
Mm.
cool thing to get hooked into. I loved it. I went to it was I loved it, so I think that we've all kind of have learned different things from each other, and in the future, the band's not going to keep going. Things are going to change. We're going to have a new normal at some point, in the near future, unfortunately, and it's terrifying to think, but you know what, we have a lot of people that love the Cure, and we all, can create a really wonderful community with each other, to keep things, that spirit alive, the feeling of authenticity alive, because that is a true authentic group that we've created, together, of people that just love the band, love to collect, and love to archive, and love to, like, everybody's got a thing that they are plug in with, it's, to me, it's wonderful, and I hope that we get a few more tours out of them at least, because I'm still able to run around and get on the rail and, do my thing. So as long as I've kind of got that physical strength and stamina, which I do, I certainly have the passion. I hope that we get a few more tours out of them. So at least, so,
Yeah, me
you
too.
know, I just don't want people. I don't want people like. I get upset personally. Like, I don't want people stressing and being like, "Where's the new album?" Like, all of that puts pressure on them. I don't want them to have pressure or stress or anything like that. It'll happen if it happens, when it happens. It don't matter. We got some great new songs. They've been playing them live. They're fantastic. Just be happy that they're playing and that they're still around, and there's a still Cure live world that we can still connect into and be a
Yeah.
part of, and get our therapy and our respite and our love and community all jazzed around. I'm so happy that he's kind of like taking the snow globe and shaking it back up again, and the snow's just all flurrying around again, because we've just had like a year and a half of Cure shows, of
Yeah.
them playing live again. It's back.
Yeah. And coming out of COVID, it was something. Um,
It was huge for all of us, for all of us,
well, thank
you
you
know.
so much, Leenie, for taking the time today. Out
Thank
of your
you. I'm sorry I ramble on. You just, but that's who I am. You just got who I am.
Don't apologize. You have a lot of good things to say and a lot of love. There's a lot of thank yous
Oh, I
going
feel so much.
on.
I feel so much love coming out of this year. I'm really thankful for all the people that I've met on these tours, the love that I've had shared with me, the love that I try to reciprocate and stuff. I'm really happy that we've all kind of reconnected again, thanks to the band coming back out,
Yeah, and I think, but I mean, again, like during COVID, we came up with a way to get together, and so I think again, the takeaways are, I say this all the fucking
No.
time, but be kind to one another,
Mm-hmm.
be guided by music, like you said.
Guided by music. Just be
Life
guided
is
by the music.
life is so short, and there's a lot of riffraff bullshit that happens online. Try to throw it out. I mean, I'm saying that to myself because we
Yeah.
all experience some caca doo doo, but that's life. And right now on this planet, holy shit, we need peace, love, and
Songs of a lost world. We're in the
we need
lost world. That's
fun.
right. Mm-hmm.
We need
We
fun.
need fun. Honey, I love anybody who's met me or around me. They know I love to have fun and create fun around me and stuff like that. I love fun. Fun is love. That's all it is. Music is fun. That's why I let music guide me, because I always have fun with music. It's the best time of my life, and it's probably the best time of most of our lives. Music's always been involved in it. So just keep focusing on stuff like that, and eventually, hopefully, the Cure is going to be coming back live again. But if they don't, we still have each other, and we still are massive Cure fans. And that music, there's so much of it out there. We're going to figure it out. So
Yep.
we're going to keep it going. So that's how I feel about it, and I'm hope that everybody was able to get to go see a show and have that experience, or see one live streamed or on videos. It's really important to spend that extra time and watch them, and go into that little magical world that we have when we can watch a Cure live show. And I will send to you the Constance 42 agains, because that's like literally the best.
Do it.
It's so good.
Do
I
it.
am. I'm going to send it to you.
All right.
I'll send
Thanks
it
to
right after
everybody
that.
for joining. Love you all. Have a great rest of your day or night or wherever you are. And I'll see you in a couple weeks on another live
Okay,
thing.
bye.
Bye. Thank you, Leenie. Bye bye.
Bye.